What's going on, everybody? All right, let's talk about this JPJ situation going into our week 4 matchup against the Chicago Bears. And now we've seen two press conferences with Pete Carroll. One middle of the week, and one of the reporters really pressed Pete Carroll just on the whole situation with the offensive line, who's starting. Obviously, last year we had Meredith at the guard position, where Meredith did extremely well, and JPJ showed a lot of promise at the center position by the end of last season. And so I believe it was Vinny Bonsignor that kind of pressed Pete Carroll a little bit about whether or not it's still on the table if JPJ could play at the center position at any point in this season. And Pete Carroll basically shut that down right out the box and said that's not going to happen. And then he went on to finish it up and basically said they're still evaluating JPJ and just kind of getting a feeler as to what he can actually do. And then yesterday on Friday, Pete Carroll addressed the media again, and the reporters, they were able to get some additional questions in regarding the offensive line. And the reporters wanted to know, are we going to see JPJ on the field? And Pete Carroll basically said that we're going to see both JPJ and Alex Kappa out there against the Chicago Bears, which again, to me, when I heard that, doesn't make any sense at all, because we know who Alex Kappa is. We knew who Alex Kappa was going to be when we signed him in the offseason. So for there to be just any question on who would play full-time at the guard position, and for it to be anybody other than JPJ, just doesn't make much sense to me. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this topic and touch on a couple more things. But before I do, let me know in the comment section down below, what's your overall opinion of this offensive line as it stands today? Who do you want to see start in what positions? Let me know in the comment section. And what's your confidence level? 1 being the absolute worst and 10 being the absolute best. What's your confidence level in this offensive line right now? And what changes do you want to see moving forward? But before we get into it, if you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. It'll be my 11th giveaway since starting this channel in 2023. So if you want to be included, hit that sub button, but also hit the notification bell so you do know when I drop more content. But at the same time, I go live on Wednesdays and we break down game film, but we also hit you with a live after every single game just to kind of give you our post-game reaction to that previous games. But I definitely appreciate it, so hit that notification bell so you do know when I go live. Now, first, I want to touch on the comment that Pete Carroll threw out there regarding the fact that we're going to see both JPJ and Alex Kappa against the Chicago Bears. And now that could be a complete smokescreen. Maybe we're only going to see JPJ. Maybe we only see Alex Kappa. I don't know. I mean, JPJ was active last week and played a little bit on special teams, but we never saw him entering the game, even though Alex Kappa was not doing very good. And so could be a smokescreen. But if we see both JPJ and Alex Kappa kind of rotating through, I just don't understand why you would do that. If JPJ is active, if he's ready to go, he has to be the starting guard and he has to play 100% of the snaps against the Chicago Bears. There's absolutely no reason why JPJ and Alex Kappa should be rotating in and out at that guard position. And as soon as I heard Pete Carroll say that there's potentially going to be a rotation at that guard position, the first thing I started to think about was, why is there a rotation between Alex Kappa and JPJ? Dylan Parham is probably our worst offensive lineman as it stands right now. And my thing was, if you're going to at least bring in a veteran, or you're going to have at least some competition, that competition should be with Dylan Parham. Now, we do have Carlos Rogers, our late 3rd round draft pick, and I just don't think he's ready at all based off what we saw in that preseason. And to me, I thought, well, why isn't there more of a competition between Alex Kappa and Dylan Parham? And so I had to do a little bit of research to see, has Alex Kappa ever played left guard? And after I did a little bit of research, I found out that Alex Kappa has never played left guard in the National Football League. He's always played right guard. And when I came across that fact of Alex Kappa, and you brought him specifically as a veteran presence, someone that could be a rotational piece if needed, if someone were to go down, it goes back to me completely questioning this pickup of Alex Kappa. Because again, if somebody goes down, and you knew that we had a massive liability in Dylan Parham based on what we saw at him last season, why wouldn't you bring in somebody that was more of a swing guard, somebody that has experience playing both right and left, and you can have a veteran presence, somebody that obviously you had some confidence in based on the fact that Spytek has history with Alex Kappa? Why wouldn't you bring in somebody that could help out at both guard positions? But no, what you do is, not only did you bring in probably the worst starting guard in the National Football League last year, but also somebody that can only play at the right side, and you cannot move him over to the left if needed. To me, it feels like you can just stack on another reason why this Alex Kappa signing in the offseason was probably one of the dumbest signings I think I've ever seen. And again, I hated the fact that we brought on Cody Whitehair. I hate to bring up his name. I hated we brought him on last year. And I'm telling you, it just feels like Alex Kappa is just another Cody Whitehair, which was just a horrible signing. And then I'll end this topic off with this last point before I move on to the next topic is we always heard about compete. We always heard about competition between Spytek and Pete Carroll. And the thing is as of right now, it seems like the only competition on the offensive line is between Alex Kappa and JPJ. Where's the competition for Dylan Parham? Where's the competition for the guy that we knew was going to come into this season as a liability? Where is his competition? Because again, like I said, Carlos Rogers just isn't it. He's a rookie, a late third round rookie that showed in the preseason that he's just not ready. Where in the hell is the competition for Dylan Parham? Because if there's anybody on this offensive line that needs a little kick in the ass and needs to know someone's on his heels to potentially take his position if he doesn't step his ass up, where is that competition? It is nowhere to be seen because again, after doing the research, Alex Kappa has never played left guard before. He has always been a right guard. And so I'll ask and end it with this to Pete Carroll, JPJ. Where the hell is the competition for our worst offensive lineman on this front five, Dylan Parham? Where is it? It's non-existent. And again, that's just another failure in the offseason and lack of preparation for a known liability going into this season with Dylan Parham. And the last topic I want to touch on before I get out of here is I do believe that eventually JPJ is going to be the starting guard. And I know a lot of people are kind of talking about why JPJ isn't playing center. Obviously, last year he ended off the year being extremely productive at the center position. And obviously Jordan Meredith did very good at the guard position. So a lot of us thought that's how we're going to roll into the 2025 season, and everything got shuffled up. And look, I do not agree with the shuffle up. I still think JPJ should play center, and I think Jordan Meredith should be at guard. But Pete Carroll confirmed it and was extremely adamant that that's not going to happen. JPJ is going to play at the guard position. I know a lot of people are up in arms about it, and frankly, a lot of people are pissed off. And I understand. But in my opinion, if JPJ does get that nod, he ends up being the full-time starter moving forward. I still have confidence that this setup can work with Jordan Meredith at center and JPJ at guard. I think JPJ still can be a very good guard in the National Football League. And even though Jordan Meredith had some struggles, obviously with the snaps against the Chargers, he is extremely technically sound. Now, he's not the biggest offensive lineman, and that's where I think he's going to struggle. One of the reasons why I wasn't a fan of him going to center was, one, he's never played it before. I think he played 2 series in a preseason game a couple years ago, and that's it. So his lack of experience is definitely going to hurt him, and there's going to be a pretty big learning curve. But I think he's moving along very well. He's doing extremely good in the run blocking side. He's doing better in the pass blocking. He struggled those first 2 games, but it's starting to pick up. Again, it's a very different position for him. Playing center versus guard is extremely different. But again, Jordan Meredith is very good technically, so I think he's going to continue to get better and better as the games go on. I have no doubt about that. But again, one of the things that is going to be a struggle for him moving forward is because he's not the biggest offensive lineman. When he goes up against larger interior nose guards and defensive tackles, in order for him to snap the ball, get his hands up, and get out of his stance quickly and going up against larger interior defensive linemen, it's going to be very difficult for him. I'm not saying he can't do it, but because he's more technical and he's not necessarily that mauler in the middle, as much as I'm a massive fan of Jordan Meredith, I'm not going to be surprised if he does get pushed back and he's quick to lose ground against some of these larger interior defensive tackles. So again, I'm not a fan of him being at center, but I do think as the next couple weeks goes on, he gets more reps and more playing time at the center position, I think he's going to do fine. I have confidence in Jordan Meredith. And at the same time, I think JPJ at guard is going to ultimately work out for us by the end of this season, but that's not my biggest concern with this offensive line. Jordan Meredith and JPJ in those positions, I think will ultimately work out. My biggest concern is Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham just looks absolutely awful. Now, I will throw in there DJ Glaze. It looks like he's going through a little bit of a sophomore slump. He's definitely not progressing and improving based on what we saw last year. But look, at the end of the day, is it more about the capabilities of the offensive line, the personnel that we have there, or it's the fact that the coaching just isn't up to par. And being that our offensive line coach is also our run game coordinator and have a ton of question marks on just how well we're executing the running game, some of the run play designs, I have massive question marks as to one, I questioned the design of some of our run blocking schemes, and I base that off of the 23 years that I coached this game and the 15 years that I played it. And two, we keep running these inside trap concepts that if you don't have the linemen that can get to the second level quickly and efficiently, and also cannot move linemen off the line of scrimmage, these inside trap plays are going to continue to struggle. And we run them continuously throughout the game. And based on what I saw in the last game film, it looks like these interior defensive linemen know it's coming. They feel the lineman release. They see the lineman pulling, trying to kick them out in the interior. They step down, take on the block with their inside shoulder, and they blow everything up right there in the interior. It's happened multiple times. And so again, it just kind of goes to the run concepts that I'm seeing that I think aren't suitable for the linemen that we have. But at the same time, I think it's just another example that we're just getting completely outcoached on the offensive side of the ball. And so I just want to jump on here, kind of give you my points as to kind of how we're using JPJ. And I hope to see him starting against the Chicago Bears, because at the end of the day, we know what JPJ can do. And he's a young, talented offensive lineman that we need to continue to grow and continue to improve and allow him to thrive. Let him regain that confidence, put him in the game, do everything we can to move this offensive line forward and improve every single game. And we know Alex Kappa is not the answer, and I don't think anybody can question that. So again, I appreciate you. Just want to jump on here, kind of give you my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you want to see? What does your perfect offensive line look like if you were to put the starters out there against the Chicago Bears? Let me know in the comment section down below. So I definitely appreciate it. If you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway, my 11th since starting this channel in 2023, will go down when I hit 5,500 subscribers. So as soon as I hit that sub button if you want to be included, but also hit that notification bell so you do know when to go live in the Raider War Room on Wednesdays. We break down game film, and on Sundays or after the game and give you our post-game reaction. So I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the game. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.